I'm Juli Joy, and we will be offering a new series on this channel titled The Ascension Chronicles, featuring Dyana Love and Zion of the Zion Collective. Zion and Dyana were brought together from the future because they reached the time in their experience to unite and fulfill a mission together to assist Gaia and humanity before, during, and after the Ascension. Both are ascended masters incarnate. Zion is a walk-in, walking down from the 13th dimension over 79,000 years. Both are channels, intuitive energy healers, and mediums reunited in this incarnation and trained by the Zion Collective, a host of non-physical beings, ascended masters, the angelic realm, and cosmic beings who relay information and teachings. We began these recordings for this series during the Lionsgate timeline for 2020. Now, with no further ado, here are Dyana and Zion.
Okay, greetings to everyone here. I would like to pick up where we left off from the previous recording. And at the point where we left off, we were talking about becoming superhuman. And I think we jumped a bit ahead, so I want to backtrack a minute because I think we left a lot of people behind and we're jumping ahead too quickly, even though it's fascinating. I'd like to backtrack to how we became awakened before we jump into the superhuman thing. So Zion, I'm going to ask you to offer some comments about the awakening process.
Yes. So the awakening process is like, the best way I could compare it is, for human understanding, is the school system, right? We start in kindergarten, and then we go up to middle school, and then you go up to high school. So once you understand what the word awakening means, you practically in kindergarten. Now you start understanding and seeing what it is, and once you start knowing what it is, so you graduate from middle school. Once you get to middle school, now you're wearing the big boys and the big girls pants. Now you're ready to experience what awakening is. Now by the time you reach high school, that's when you know all these big words that we're throwing around, like ascension sentence, alignment, and non-judgment, and all that good stuff. Now, to be awakening, I'm not going to claim that I know what it is because I have been through it before, but I have no recollection of it. But we do know and can give a guidance on how to get there. And one of the stuff that we could tell, one of the qualities that we could tell you is, first thing first is to remove judgment out your everyday life. And once you remove judgment, you will start seeing things on a clear light. Once you remove judgment, you will become aware, because you will not have anything to interfere with the message that's flowing into your reality. And once you have no judgment, you have more information flowing in, and you'll become more aware because you have more information coming through, and you'll become more aware. You'll be learning at a faster rate because there's nothing that's blocking your awareness. Because to me, that's what judgment is block your awareness, because you're no longer, you're no longer changing things from what is to what you want it to be. Because that's one of the issues that most humans have. They are stuck into their comfort zone, and they do not want to see what's in front of their eyes, but they want to see what they want to believe to be their own reality. So they change it into their own comfort zone. It's not everything that we need to learn that's going to be in your comfort zone. And by putting judgment into it, you automatically put it in that category of your comfort zone. So by removing judgment, you no longer worry about comfort zone. You just become aware of the message just coming into your reality. And I believe that's one of the big part of Ascension that a lot of other light workers totally miss and don't talk about. They throw the word ascension out there, they throw the word awakening out there, but they do not show us a path to get there. And I believe judgment is a key word that will lead you to another big word is alignment. And I believe that once you start removing judgment, your awareness will bring you into alignment. And once you're in alignment, you'll be in the all-knowing all the time, and you will also be balanced physically, emotionally, spiritually, and all of the above.
That's really interesting because you say that when you find that life is what you want it to be, life gets blocked by the experiences around us. And this is where we get practice using the removal of judgment, because, well, our emotions get involved when we see someone being mistreated or bullied, especially in the school system. And we, light workers are equipped with the DNA gene for pulling for the bad guy, pulling for the underdog is what I'm trying to say. And because we are offended when we see someone being bullied, that throws us into that emotional imbalance, which then forces us to want to defend someone. But yet then there's fear of getting our butt kicked by the bully, so we don't interfere. These are the struggles that prevent us from having that perfect clarity and staying in alignment and always being aware. And then, the emotional control steps in when we are observing these experiences, and we can stop ourselves before we react. This is what I was seeing, as you were describing the alignment and getting in balance with the all-knowing. So this is where I think most people are in the world right now. And they need tools, they need support, they need help in understanding, how am I going to get there with all of this noise, all of this outer, activity around us that keeps pulling us back down into that spiral that pulls us down and out of alignment. So I would really love for us to come up with some scenarios or techniques or tools that we could offer to them. Did that make sense to you?
Yes, absolutely. And I've seen what you were talking about, and as we're discussing that, I see clearly what you mean. It's basically we need to find a way to offer like a step-by-step method. But unfortunately, the human mind, all human mind doesn't work according to one. So we have to come up with a simplest form to explain it, more like a blueprint, and you will have to make that blueprint your own. So let's just say we just will set the foundation, and you will have to build upon it. That's the best way that we could say it. So for starters, you have to be aware. And once you start being aware, let's go back. So to be aware, let me explain to be aware. To be aware is not just walking into a room and see things and know that, okay, there's a flashlight here, there's a, something here. Being aware is stepping into the room and allow your aura, your energy body to engulf the room, to feel everything, to become one with the room. Where you just do one sweep, you could see everything in the room without missing one. That's when you know that you're aware. Like, you see things that most people don't usually see. And it's not that difficult. And the basic way to start practicing awareness is to slow your minds down. Slow your, as they say, your busy mind. When you go outside, instead of rushing to do stuff, stop and smell the flowers. Stop and look at the bee that's flying before your eyes. Stop and observe what's going on in your environment. Look at every corner. Look at every sign. Because these are the way that the universe sent us messages. And we have been so busy. The hours pass so quick. The minutes, and the minutes become nothing. Because we are so busy figuring out what's, for dinner 10 hours from now, and we forgot how to live the hour that we are right now. And by going back into the hour that you are right now, you become aware of your present moment. And by being aware, that's when the universe starts throwing you hints on what you need, what you really want. And all the questions that you have ever had that's lingering in your mind, these are the time that the answers come through. Like, for example, I have been experimenting. When I start knowing and understanding what aware is, I start experimenting. One time I asked a question, and I just, and I know the question will not be coming from a person directly, so I just asked the question. And then suddenly there's a bus that came by. The bus had a complete commercial that was written something on it. But within that commercial statement, my answer was embedded in that statement. And suddenly I had the aha moment. So that's a good example of being aware of your environment, being aware of when you ask a question, don't encase yourself on how the answer should come. Because the universe have an infinite way of showing you what you need to know, what you need to learn. And once you start being aware and you open your mind, the possibilities are infinite.
That's good, because while you're talking, I'm visualizing this. And I actually could see things you were about to say before you said it. Because what you were saying about being aware, to be aware, what is it? Well, it's feeling energy, your energy body, to reach out and interact with energy of everyone around you, to slow your busy mind down. And we do this naturally by getting out of our minds, getting out of our head, and to go into our hearts, because that's where a lot of I find my information comes from my heart. But when you stop and you focus and you begin observing your surroundings, this is like getting in touch with nature, walking around aware of your surroundings. And by embracing the stillness of nature, when you're in that mindset, then that's when you tap into your heart. And you make the energetic suggestions to others through your emotions, through your thoughts. And as you're observing everyone, you're not judging them, because I do feel that when someone is judging me, I feel it energetically. I feel it in my body. And it, when someone feels they're being challenged or judged, they feel challenged. And that starts the discourse of falling out of alignment and so forth. So there's the beauty in remaining in observation mode and outside of judgment. Just observe with no preset qualification of what you see. Just watch it and observe it. And as you do this, things will unfold around you that will be teaching you what you're seeing coming from your heart, which is a pure source, and not being made up in your head, because when you make these issues up in your head of what you think you see, you're manifesting them. You're creating them. Just like a thought of judgment projected at you, you sense that, and you feel threatened, possibly, by the person that's projecting that energy to you. So when you stay in your, experimental mode, like you do, and you see the answer come by on the side of a bus, that's brilliant, because you're aware, you get the answer. But if you're not aware and you're not being observant, very few people these days are. Very few people, I find, actually observe what's going on around them. They're trying to drive the energy. They're trying to drive that bus instead of observing it. And as a result, you begin to manifest in a positive way instead of a negative way when you're in stillness, when you're coming from your heart, when you're coming from not misjudgment, where you're coming from outside of judgment, just observing.
Yes,
so if you're,
and
I'm sorry, if you're rushing through life, my whole point is if you're rushing through life, you're going to miss the whole scenario.
Yes, I totally agree. While you are saying that, one thing that we see is about human, that something that we all should think about as human is you think with your brain, but you feel with your heart. You feel with your heart, but you react with your brain. So this, to us, is a major disconnection, because it's like, how can you feel with your heart, but yet you react with your brain? So that's why it's very, very important to understand that, whenever you start being aware, you cannot let your brain dictate and judge what's around you, because you're not feeling with your brain. You are feeling with your heart. So if you're feeling with your heart, you cannot let your brain answer for you. Your heart has to answer, because your heart is what feels the emotion. And to me, that's what being awareness is. Stop thinking with your brain and let your brain respond for you, because your brain is logic. Your brain is just like a computer. It's there to protect you and to make logical response, not to analyze your emotional feeling and regurgitate what it thinks for you, which is judgment. And that's why I completely agree with you that you have to go into your heart. And once you go into your heart, you merge your heart with your brain and you become one entity. Because that's one of the stuff that society have teach us, that they are two different entities, but they're not. They work as a team, and once you disconnect them, that's when you fall into judgment. That's when you're totally not aware of your surrounding.
Okay, what I got from that is when you mentioned how we use our brain to come up with logic. Well, our logic is based on programming that we've been enduring. And when we learn to recognize the programming, then your team will work together much better. because most people aren't even aware how programmed they are. Society has programmed them. Every aspect of our society, television, oh my gosh, there's so many influences bombarding us 24 hours a day. So we can even go further back and address programming and how to deprogram our minds. And we did actually address that in a previous video.
Yes.
So what can you offer us a little bit more insight into this programming and how to undo it?
Well, everything that's done can be undone. We, as the human race, have been programmed for eons. And you have to understand that sometimes people throw the word free will at you, and most people just gobble it up. Like, okay, I have free will. What I did is I did it with my own free will, but that is totally false. Because you are programmed to like certain things. You are programmed to gravitate toward a specific brand. You are programmed. Everything you do is according to your program. And that's why a lot of these companies, they monitor what you like, what you dislike. Because once they know what you like, what you dislike, the program accumulate all your likes, and that's how you are able to be navigated to a specific destination by using the thing that you like. And that's how the program works. And by you being aware of the program, you could stop it and reprogram yourself. Like a good example is how we like to eat sweet, right? We like everything that you ever put your hands on have some kind of sugar. That's one way of giving your body something that you do not need. Your body does not need all that sweetness, but you're programmed to like sweet because everything else have sweet in it. So you know once you get out there, it will be in your visual. You just cannot escape it. It doesn't matter if you said, okay, this is too sweet, but eventually you will fall prey to something that's sweet and you use it. And by you being aware of it, you will completely remove yourself from these circumstances. And then once you remove yourself from these circumstances, you will start learning how to desensitize yourself from all these, programs. And eventually you'll fall into the alignment. Okay, I understand that this is not good for me. This is not good for me. I understand that if I eat too much of this, what it's going to do with my body. And you start educate yourself on, okay, if I have cramp, what do I need to do? Okay, I know I could eat a banana because the bananas will, solve that problem. Okay, if I'm having a cough or a cold, okay, I need vitamin C, I eat an orange. And these are the simple things that you could do to start the process of reprogramming yourself. And to reprogram yourself, you have to be aware of your environment. To be aware of your environment, you have to remove judgment and being a neutral observer. So this is how all the stuff work into one big roller coaster.
Well, then I understand why deprogramming yourself can be so confusing and difficult, and why one size doesn't fit all, because we all come from such varied backgrounds and experiences that not the same stimulus isn't going to affect everybody the same. So what you're saying is allow your body to communicate with you and teach you, because it's talking to you all the time. If I eat something right now that my body doesn't want, it'll let me know. And so I think our bodies, one thing people don't always understand is that our bodies have a mind of their own as well. And if you could comment on that, I would think that would be helpful.
Yes. Well, first we have to understand that we are not that we are not our body. When you look in the mirror, you are not this body. What's the word that human says? You are a spiritual being having a human experience. That's a common denominator that everybody like to use. And I totally agree with it. We are here to have a human experience. Now, what does that mean, in literal terms? Well, at night, you go somewhere, believe it or not. You don't stay here while your body recuperates from all the whatever that you do during the daytime. At night, your body need at least a minimum of 3 hours of sleep to recuperate. And when that's going on, you are somewhere else, doing some other things in some other dimension. So your body know what it needs. You just have to build that relationship with your body and start learning. Again, you have to be aware and observant, because if you need to eat sweet, your body will tell you that you need sweet before it starts breaking down. Because your body needs so many complex of vitamins, chemical, and so on, so on. If it doesn't have enough of whatever that it needs, it will tell you. Like, for example, whenever you go to the fruit store, supermarket, most of us, what we do, we take a watermelon, what we do, we smell it. It's in your blueprint to recognize these things. And that's why most of us automatically does it. You could call it program, but I call it part of your blueprint. You go to the supermarket, you take an orange, first thing you do, you smell it. You take a pineapple, first thing you do, you smell it. You look at it, you feel it. You're connecting to the food that you need, and your body's inspecting it. Because whenever you put it down, it's not that that fruit is not good. It's just your body telling you, hey, this one doesn't have the exact portion or the exact amount of chemical that I need right now. You need to get this one. And that's how you actually pick a specific fruit, a specific vegetable, because your eyes is analyzing it, your energy is analyzing it, and your body is communicating with each and every piece of item in a supermarket that's telling you exactly what you need. Some people, whenever they go shopping, whenever they finish shopping, they feel satisfied because the body is satisfied of what you have picked. Now, again, you have to be aware and observant to see that. And once you see that, that's when you start building the relationship with your body on what it needs, what it wants, and so on and so forth.
Okay, that was really good because you led me into a new train of thought. When you ask for what you want, you do it in many ways. You do it by what you think, the desire that you're feeling, that I think I want a pineapple today. And then you go to the store and you check out the pineapple and you end up picking one. And I'm very conscious of this because when I'm observing fruit, I'm looking at the color, I'm looking at this, I'm smelling it. But my real guidance comes from my solar plexus. When I get a yes, then I know that's the right pineapple. And you're right, most people don't even understand that their body is communicating this information to them. But you're also communicating with your higher self who's guiding you. My higher self, I will stop in the middle of an aisle and turn around suddenly, and I don't know what I'm looking for. And then my eyes fall upon it, and I'm like, that is exactly what I need. And this just happened to me recently where I'm looking down the aisle at something, and this man comes to the end, and he said something about sauce. Well, I thought he said salt. And I said, did you say salt? He goes, no, I said sauce. I said, well, I need salt. Thanks for reminding me. So where did he come from to say that, to jog me to remember? I had everything on my list but one thing, and it was salt. And I would have gone home empty-handed without my salt had he not intervened serendipitously. So this is other ways that your higher self communicates with you also. You can feel the nudges, the inner nudges within when you're aware of what your body is saying, when you're aware of the silence around you and you're just focused on what you want and trusting that what you're sensing and feeling is guiding you. This is a little bit more advanced than where most people are. And because you're aware, you're going to feel these inner nudges. You're going to sense experiences that are presented in your activities, like the man walking in and saying sauce. Why he said that, I have no idea. Maybe he was thinking out loud, but it worked for me. But it leads me to, well, which pineapple do I want to pick? And I can find the right pineapple. It's all about trusting, trusting what you're seeing, feeling, hearing, tasting, smelling. Every aspect of your being is showing you the way. But what are you focusing your attention on? Are you walking through the grocery store with your iPod and, playing music, or, you're totally outside and distracted from your purpose when you do this? So being aware and being observing of what your communications are that's coming into your auric field 24 hours a day, you have a better opportunity of not only developing your intuition. This is what we talked about yesterday too. How do you develop these abilities? You use them. Isn't that what the collective said? You have to use them. You have to be observant. You have to trust and believe that this guidance is what you're receiving. For that reason, it's teaching you. And our bodies are constantly teaching us. Our higher selves are constantly teaching us. So this gets into deliberate manifestation. When we're aware of these abilities that we have and we start playing with them, we become manifestors. So would you like to share something with us on how we can teach people to become deliberate manifestors?
Well, absolutely. So deliberate manifestation is actually something that we do naturally. But for some reason, sometimes we get stuck because we want to manifest that specific thing, and we suddenly become so clustered, so flustered, because the reason I say cluster and fluster is because that it's like we're stuck into one place and we do not know how to get out. Because it's like so much thing, popping into your head at the same time that you do not know what to do with it. So you become flustered. Clustered, the reason I say cluster is because that so much thing around you that you do not know what to manifest or what to manifest first, so you lost your priority. And as a human, if I could go back to your body, you are connected electromagnetically speaking with everything, because your heart generates enough power to connect to pretty much anything that you want. So your body already knows how to bring what you want into being. So once you become aware of your body, you become aware of this electromagnetic field that's around your body that's always pulsating. You become more aware of your higher self and all that good stuff. Now manifesting anything is just a matter of thinking about it, clear your mind, and then that's it. Because everything that we have around us, before it was whatever it is, it was in your mind. It was in somebody's mind. And they eventually put it down in paper, and then it become materialized. And it's that simple. There's no magic, and there's nothing involved. It's just a matter of thinking it and believe it, and it will come to fruition. Now, one thing that I see that a lot of individuals always do is that the way that you request, your manifestation plays a big word, because some people, they will say an example, I wish that I have this, but the minute you say the word but, you'll automatically negate that energy, stop that energy from going forth. So basically, you automatically self-destruct before you even start it. So whenever you want to manifest something, you have to be mindful of the choice of words that you use, because everything that comes out your mouth is so powerful that, I mean, I cannot even put it into words, because the words itself is just magical. And once you start learning how to properly phrase what you want and let it go, and that's all manifesting. That's all manifestation is. It's just you clear your mind, choose the right words, being in alignment, being aware that the universe will bring it to you one way or the other. You do not even have to know how it's coming, where it's coming. All you need to know is that you want this, and that's it.
Okay, I agree with that. What you're saying is staying in the now moment at all times. Because when we are drifting into the past, when we're dreaming about what we're going to do tomorrow, which is the future, neither of them really exist. Now is the only time. And this is where our power lies. We can also remember to frequently ground ourselves. Go outside and ground yourself. Take your shoes off and walk in the grass. I deliberately talk to Gaia every day, several times throughout the day. I walk out and talk to the tree. I walk out and just appreciate the sunshine. And then I remember, I refocus. I refocus on what it is I'm doing in this now moment that I'm trying to achieve. And then I understand what my abilities are and what abilities I want to develop. And then I trust in the process that it's going to be delivered. And it always is. I never, ever, ever doubt. Doubt is something that we need to remove from our vocabulary, from our experience, because we've been programmed to doubt everything. We've been programmed to believe that we are unworthy, but we're not. We're royalty. Every one of us are royalty, and we deserve everything that we desire to have in our life. That's what we're here to do, to create. Now, we have to be mindful of how we request what it is that we want. Our choice of words, as you said. But what this brought to my mind immediately was how what we have set against us, which is the biggest defeat, is how our language is designed to deceive us. This is not our language that we originally speak. According to our divine blueprint, this is something I really would love to hear you address, because according to our divine blueprint, we have our own language, just like the Ascended Masters said in the last discussion, that they don't speak our language. So can you give us some insight into that so that we understand how this language deceives us and how we can use it to benefit us? And how can you make recommendations for us to understand that more thoroughly?
Okay, so that's a loaded question, because number one, many of us are incarnated into this body. We are not from this planet. So not from this planet, we have our own language from back home where we came from, which a lot of light workers call it light language. Light language, or language that we speak of from our original Earth, or original landmass, original planet, whichever you want to call it. And this language over here was created as, that's why a lot of people call it spells, because there's certain words that when you put them together, they create something. That's how we come up with magic. When you put certain specific words together, and if you ever come across of any magic incantation, it's nothing like we're speaking right now. There are specific words that puts together, very simple but powerful, comes together to create that whatever that we are forcing into being, because that's what magic is. Magic, you are forcing something into being at your will. And you have the same power without going through all these special incantation things. You just need to keep it simple to your own understanding, and know not to negate yourself as you speak. I mean, I understand a lot of people, they are specialized in putting vocabulary together, putting grammar together, and all that good stuff. But at the same time, that same grammar is what's killing you, because if you do not understand properly what that word signify and you use it, you're casting a spell against you. So that's why whenever you are having a conversation, especially with yourself, it's highly recommended that you keep everything into the present tense, and you keep everything into the now, and you keep everything into the I am. Because once you keep everything into the now and you keep everything into the I am, you know that you will not be using any negative form of words that will negate what you are trying to convey to somebody or to yourself. And that's one reason that a lot of quotes out there, they say, be careful what you say whenever you self-talk, because self-talk equals self-sabotage. Because you are picking all the wrong word to talk to yourself. And your mind, again, your mind hears things and it records it. It doesn't feel it. It records it and executes it. Now your heart feels. So your heart knows what's bad, it will reject it, but your mind doesn't reject anything. Your mind takes in everything that you said that it hears. So that's why it is very, very important to choose your word wisely. Now, this language is not ours because we are energy being. Energy doesn't have a language. Energy is vibration. You cannot speak energy, but you could feel energy. So that should automatically tell you, as a human being, this words that come out of your mouth is not originally yours. Because if I could sit right here and I could heal somebody all the way in Japan without ever even say one word to them, what does that tell you? If a mother could feel the pain of a child across the world, what does that tell you? That we are not what you see. You are not that meat bag that you see in the mirror. You are not a physical being. You are an energy being. So I could go on and on about how this language is not yours. There's so many examples, but we're just so busy and not aware, not observing of who we truly are. And like I said, I have no words to actually explain. It's just that one of those things that you have to experience for yourself and do the logic. This will require logic, that you will know that this language that we speak is just, the whole purpose of this language is to separate us from each other. Because it doesn't matter if you put all the nation, one person from all the nation together into one room, they will find a way to communicate without even saying one word. Now, why is that? Because they could feel each other. They could feel how this one felt toward each other, and they could communicate in such a way that no one can ever understand. But again, it's right there before you. We are an energy being. We communicate using vibration. And that's the best way I could put it.
Well, you put it very eloquently. I love that. That was very good. Now, vibration you mentioned. Speak it, feel it, see it, sense it. And you reminded me that I'm an empath, you're an empath, and we're super sensitive to energy. And especially in the work that we do, our whole job is related to energy. As we channel, as we do the healings, we're tapping into the energy of the person, and the person's not even there in front of us. We never ever touch their bodies, their physical bodies. Yet you can hold their divine blueprint up in front of you and look at it and compare it to their energy body and see immediately the difference when something isn't right. And a lot of times these injuries, the discolorations in their physical vessel that we see in their energy bodies, is their pain. Pain comes in as a different color, as you've described to me. It's a grayish color. And where does this pain come from? It is because people accept everything as truth that they take off of the internet. And this has been something that many spiritualists are discussing. And we've talked incessantly about discernment and how people should discern the truth from within using their energy body, by sensing with their energy aura what is truth. And we feel our way. And this is all what you just described, is how we're energetic beings. And people need to stop focusing on themselves as physical beings, because that's our vessel that houses our energy body that's inside. Yet everything that affects our bodies, physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional bodies, we have 4, affects each other. Something that you're thinking or feeling or reacting to with your physical body and your emotional body is going to create something somewhere in your physical body that results in pain. And they're thinking of painful situations or holding a grudge and these types of things. So I would love for you to talk more about how people could use better discernment, and let's teach a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So the word discernment alone carry a heavy weight. And the reason why I said it carry a heavy weight is because that first, to be able to discern properly, you have to, again, remove judgment, and you have to learn to trust yourself. And once you start trusting yourself, again, all the stuff fall into the category of alignment, right? So when you trust yourself, whenever the truth comes to you, you'll automatically feel it and understand it. Yes, you may doubt it at first, but once you start understanding and working with your body and working with the energy, you'll know exactly what's true and what's false. And you will not even fuss over it. You will just discard it because it doesn't serve you any purpose. Because it's a form of energy. And your body automatically know that because your blueprint, it's built in your blueprint to know what's good for it and what's not good for it. Let's go back to the pain. Anything that does not go according to your blueprint will serve as a form of pain into your body. So it's the same thing when somebody lied to you about something, and eventually that lie becomes hurtful. Depends on the magnitude of the lie or the conversation. It's because that the lie itself is a form of energy that does not go into your body. That energy, whenever it okay, so somebody lied to you. Let's put it in a picture, right? Somebody lied to you. You were having a great day. Your energy was vibrant. You were happy. You know, the sun is shining, birds are chirping, yada, yada, yada. And then suddenly somebody came in and tell you like a lie that you never expect. But deep down in your core, you could feel that it's a lie. You could feel that the person is just saying it just to try to hurt you. But instead of you going along with your body and trust what your body said, you intake that lie, and that lie becomes a piercing like a dagger into your heart. And now you start materializing that lie into your body, and then suddenly it becomes integrated into your body, and then now you start having headaches, migraine, stomach pain, knee pain, and you stop focusing on the lie, you start focusing on the pain, but the cause of the pain is the lie. But since you totally forget about how that pain originated, you start, taking pills because you're thinking, okay, maybe the pills will give me some, solution to whatever it is. But if you had trust yourself from the beginning and be aware that, hey, this doesn't sound right, this is a lie, and I will not accept it in my reality, you could have prevent so much agony by rejecting that energy that's forcing upon you. And that's the same thing with a lot of people that's having disease out there. Most of these disease or a situation that happens in their life that they fail to recognize it, or they try to hide it, or they know of it but they deny it. I mean, there's a multitude of circumstances that may cause it, but the bottom line is they have chosen to ignore it, or they were not aware of it, and that energy becomes stuck into their body and causing a specific pain in a specific part of your body. Because remember, your energy is supposed to be clean. It does not accept, again, it's like trying to put a square block into a round tube. They don't fit. And that's how your energy body is. It recognizes anything that's not supposed to be there. It's the same thing as when you get a so-called a disease that, like a flu. You have specific blood type in your body that fights the disease, that allows you to recover faster. But at the same time, you have to understand that you have to keep your body into shape so those antibodies could do what they need to do. So it's the same thing with you. If you are aware emotionally what's going on, you will trust that, okay, you know what, this person is manufacturing, his own story, that I don't have to listen to it. I don't have to intake it in my body. And that's it. Simple.
So what you're saying is, if you tap into your sensory truth detector, which is your body, that the lie is an energy that we choose to believe. So our beliefs affect our health as well. Now, that also focus again on the emotional control and emotional maturity that displaces our natural flow within our bodies because we believe it and we don't bother to discern the truth from the lie, or we react so strong emotionally to the lie because we're emotionally immature All of this keeps flowing back to the beliefs, intentions, thoughts, and emotions. Everything, all of this is driving our daily lives. It's driving our manifestations. It's driving our health issues. That if we use them in a more positive, healthy way, we could totally reverse every situation in our lives that we don't want. Is that correct?
That is correct. And everything comes from being aware.
Yes.
And once you're aware of it, game over.
So we're handing everyone these different tools and techniques to continue to use discernment to heal themselves. So now that raises another question in my mind. What about past life experiences? We see things in our work that most people don't even know exist. And a lot of people come into this incarnation dragging the past with them. They don't want to let it go. What can you share with us about this?
Well, past life experience is a little bit tricky because most people don't even know what past life is. If they know about past life, they don't have a clue about their own past life. So that kind of make it, well, not dangerous, but not, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. I cannot find it right now. But past life
makes it
problematic.
Yeah.
There you go. Problematic. That fits. So the reason why that it's problematic is because that a lot of people are not aware of past life experience can cross over to the present life. And since they do not know what to look for, so they are completely drowning into the same issue that they had previous life. And again, once you start being aware of it, because let's go back a little bit. Everything is encoded into your DNA. Everything that you have learned right now is encoded into your DNA. And sometimes, like me, for example, when certain things happen to me, some of us call it deja vu, but I call it encoded into my DNA. And when certain thing happened to me and I start remembering and I was like, hey, this happened before, but it didn't happen this way. Okay, why did it happen? How did it happen? And when I start, digging more, and that's where your body is communicating with you and your environment is communicating with you, try to tell you something. And I start thinking about it and wondering and asking the right question on why is this happening? Why is this happening this way? And try to get into the detail. I kind of realized that, okay, maybe I need to get somebody that knows more about, that subject more than I do. And that's when I start, like, a good example is, there was a time that I used to feel guilty of, and sometimes I just start crying for no reason. I mean, I was wondering, why am I crying? Because I was feeling the pain of this universe. I was feeling the pain of people dying and all that, shenanigan. And then so I went and talked to somebody, and and the reason why that I was feeling that pain is because that when I was in Atlantis, I was a high priest. And as a high priest, doing one of those disasters that was happening, and the wall collapsed. So when the building collapsed and everything was falling, and I had evacuated everybody. So when I evacuated everybody, I went down by myself into a structure to find out to see if nobody was there. And then I end up being trapped into the structure, and then I pass. But the main reason that I always cry is because that I felt like I could have saved everybody, and I have passed before I was able to make sure everybody's safe. So I keep that guilt into my body, which was embedded into my DNA, that every time I see these things happening, I felt like it was my duty to save people. But when I feel like I cannot save them, I start crying. But I would have never known that if I hadn't contacted somebody that knows more about past life, more about Akashic record in that detail, and they had to look into that specific situation to tell me exactly what's going on. So, whenever you go to the doctor and the doctor is telling you that, I don't see nothing wrong, it's about that time that you start thinking outside the box. That, maybe your situation is not all physical, because remember, again, you're not a physical being. Or maybe your issue does not have anything to do with this present timeline. So that's when you start looking elsewhere and see exactly what's going on from your past life that you could eradicate so you could move on in your present life.
Well, I can tell you in my experiences with clients through the years and our joint experiences with clients that we've worked with in the current time, guilt has been a huge factor. We're bombarded with feelings of guilt from early childhood in this life, and many people have a very difficult time releasing that guilt and understanding that maybe you had this experience for another reason and stop blaming yourself. Because I do see in the coaching with clients that a lot of people walk around holding on to guilt from their childhood or guilt about something that they've done. The past life experience I had with someone over guilt was during the Civil War. A gentleman in the Civil War lost both of his legs. And I was a nurse in the Civil War, and I was taking care of him. And as a result, he couldn't deal with the pain and the suffering and being, with no legs. He took his service revolver and he killed himself. And through many, many lifetimes, he's been dragging that guilt from one lifetime to the next. Once you and I began working with him, he was living his life in a recliner, and from his knees down, his legs were inflamed and they were so painful. And it had been called gout, but yet no test had ever revealed the high acid content in his body, so it couldn't be proven as guilt. But as a result, when you and I held a energy body healing session with him, and you now go into the Akashic records yourself, and you now can see the historical events in the past lives, and the higher selves come through and communicate to us for that particular being. That was when we learned that it was his guilt from the Civil War suicide. Well, I was coaching him and working with him after his healing session and helped him release that guilt. And he is fine today. He's out in the garage playing and working every day where he's retired, and that's where he wants to be. So he's a very, very happy. Now, he has little flares once in a while in a toe or an ankle, but he always manages to heal that. So this is the thing about past lives and guilt and how they manifest in your current experience. But, when you have a client for the first time who comes into a healing session with us, that we do remotely, it's not like they're actually with us, we do them remotely, but when we try to explain to them what our findings are, it takes a leap of faith for them to understand this storyline we may give them that relates to like a past life. Can you just imagine? So we've been so indoctrinated in this society that people have a difficult time accepting this information. But when the ones that do embrace it and we give them their recommendations to heal all the way, most of them do, because the pain is their motivation. They will do anything to stop the pain. They'll even buy into this crazy story these people are telling him, to go ahead and help release that pain. And then they realize, wait a minute, there's more to life than what I thought. And this is how you and I have learned and grown over the years, as well as through the experience of these encounters. And what I would like to help people understand and ask for your assistance is, how can we help people remember their past lives? What is the method that you could recommend? Because this is the same thing as remembering abilities that are innate within us, but we don't know how to bring them out. So can you offer any suggestions to people that would want to know more about this?
Well, if I were to start, it will take forever to explain that. But I could give you a basic template. And the basic template is to go inward, because you are a computer, and you store everything, and your DNA have everything that you need. You are self-sufficient in more ways than one, and all the stuff is encoded into your DNA. And the best way to start learning about that is to learn and to trust yourself, and start being aware of yourself, and go inward. The more you go inward, some people call it soul searching, right? But this one is soul searching to a deeper level, where you go into meditation and you start asking the right question. And actually, meditation is one topic that I would like to expound upon, but not today. So once you learn how to go inward in a deeper understanding, and start communicating with your spirit guide, you start communicating with your alternative self, also your guardian angel, whomever that you want to call upon. Once you start doing that, you will be able to go back into those timelines and see exactly what transpired. Again, it's a long journey, but you have to start somewhere. And the best way that I recommend anybody to start is to start learning how to go inward. Because that's where you're going to find all your answers, and that's where the journey starts, inward. Nobody knows you more than you.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. And I've had some of the most wonderful experiences through meditation. And a lot of my abilities have come through meditation, because here's the trick to meditation that helped me the most, is what I saw in my meditations when I made the deep connection. The images that were flashed in my third eye, which still happen daily, it made me a believer. It taught me what is truth and what is not. It taught me how to understand and interpret what I'm seeing. But it was that euphoria when you make that solid connection, and where you travel in your meditations. And for years, I didn't even realize I was the one traveling. I thought that the stars whizzing past me was just a vision. That it was me astral projecting, and I was going to Arcturus and all these other places. But I didn't have the comprehension of that. So it takes a great deal of trust and faith in the process, and constantly repetitious efforts, because it's not going to happen in one fell swoop. It takes hard work. It takes time. And so I think this is a good place to stop for now, because our next session will begin with meditation and see where that takes us. So I want to say farewell to everyone and thank you for being with us. We'll be back.